Hi guys, Chuck here, KK6USY. Welcome to Ham Radio Adventures. Now, today I've got something for you guys that work on your own products, your cars, your antennas, maybe a U-bolt. What I've got today is a product review of a nice little Ratchet that's battery operated. So let's check it out. All right, just a little history of my background. I was an auto mechanic when I was younger, in my 20s, maybe even into my early 30s. And in the auto business, for fixing cars, you use what was called a flat rate book. Now, a flat rate book gives you the amount of time it should take you to be able to fix, say, like a water pump on a car. Now, sometimes it seemed like that they take their flat rate on a engine stand, not inside of a car where you don't have as much room, okay? But I don't know for sure. It was usually per car. We had flat rate books for everything, every kind of car at the time. So tools are like an important part of your job. Now, this is a wrench, just a regular old wrench. I don't know what size. It's 11/16. I just got something you guys could probably see. Hopefully it's in focus there. Now, a wrench is good for really tight places, but not always the best tool for the job. A close end, if anytime you can use it, is great. Open end if you have to, and sometimes you have to use both. Okay, I'm going to show you why what we're talking about today is better sometimes than all this stuff. Now, you also do have like a ratchet wrench. So this is like a socket on the end here, okay? And then you have an actual ratchet, and you put multiple sockets on. You guys, I'm sure all you guys know what I'm talking about here. This is pretty, I mean, not everybody probably, but most people would know what we're talking about. And so this, you know, it ratchets. You can kind of hear it. Let's see. But it takes, let's see, here's it takes that far to get it to move one notch. Okay. Now, like I was talking the flat rate stuff, eventually I got into an air ratchet. Now, this is a pneumatic tool. You run an air hose to here. Really great for getting stuff in tight places. Once it was broke loose, they don't have a lot of power. Some do. This one doesn't. The purpose for these is to speed things up, okay? The problem with this, it's nice and small, except that you have to put an air hose on it. So if you don't have a compressor or air, it is a great tool, but if you don't have the air, say you're out in the woods someplace and you don't have an air compressor to run this, because it takes quite a bit of air to run this. All right, so you can't really run this off of like your little compressor that you fill your tires with. Some will do it, but you need a tank and stuff like that. So not the best thing for off-roading or, you know, places where you don't have a compressor. Now, with the power tool companies getting into battery-operated tools, that changes a lot of things, guys. Now, the one we're looking at today is fairly small, a little thicker than this one, okay? But pretty small. This is a 12 volt, and here's the battery for it. The battery goes into the end down here, and it slips in. What I found with this one, if you push the little tabs in, it goes in right and it snaps in. All right? The advantage to these over any of these other tools is, say you have a piece of, say you're doing something on wood. You have a piece of wood here, you have a piece of wood here, and you can only move it this far. Well, with this, you just pull the trigger, and you don't have to move this back and forth. Now these, I don't know how strong this one is. I didn't find any kind of a torque spec of what it's meant to do, but I'm gonna try and make up some things where we'll torque things down and see what it will break loose. And maybe we can check, it's hard to check what it actually will torque it down to, but we'll try to do that also. So, pretty nice little tool. Now, is this for the everyday mechanic that uses his tools for a living? Nah, I wouldn't think so. If I was gonna make a living with something like this, I would look at one of the big names, like brand names like Milwaukee, DeWalt, Rigid, Snap-on. Now, all my tools here are Snap-on from my days of working with my tools for a living. Actually, everything I showed you other than this is a Snap-on. Snap-on was a good brand. They made it easy for you to spend your money because they would basically loan you the tool until you paid it off. And when you're a young family trying to make a living, that kind of helped. Their tools are expensive. Now, for me, I don't buy Snap-on tools anymore because I don't work with my tools every day. So let's see if we can find some stuff to loosen, tighten. And like I said, you know, this thing is perfect because you don't have to move it back and forth like a regular ratchet or a wrench. I mean, some of these wrenches, like this wrench here, you have two ways. You have an angle here, and then you can turn it over at another angle. I actually have a set of wrenches like this that have this on both ends, and they're all at different angles, so it gives you 4 different angles. And they say that there's no angle that you can't tighten or loosen with that wrench. And it seems to be pretty good. Okay, just a disclosure, Banggood did send this to me. They sent this to me for a review and a video. I get to keep the product afterwards. They don't tell me what to say. They don't look at my video before I post it. It's all my own opinions. If I think this thing's a piece of junk, I'll let you guys know. I don't think it is. It sounds a little noisy compared to other ones I've used, but it's been a while since I've used other ones. And I don't currently own one of these, but I have to tell you, this battery looks really close to my Milwaukee 12 volts. Now, you guys might ask why you might want something like this for hammering down. Now, say you were up on my tower here, or I was up on the tower, and there's my tower right there. That's 40 feet in the air. You might want to be able to do stuff really rather quickly. Like, say I was installing that TA33 on the bottom there, and I need to tighten those U-bolts up really quick and didn't want to be up there all day, because standing on that thing is, unless you have something to put up there to stand on, it's not easy. Now mine is actually a tilt over, so I don't do that, but I'm just giving you a for instance. So let me show you some things that you can actually use this for. Okay, so here's a bracket that I've set up for, so I can do an antenna if I want to. It's got a cap on here. And so you want to put this to a, say like a stake or something. Okay, say we're going to tighten something like this up. You just put it on there. And that's as deep as it go. If it had a hole in there, that would probably be tight. And maybe we'll try that in a second. So there's something you could use it for. Now, here's like a hose clamp, guys. So you get this hose clamp, you put it on there. There we go. Okay, and then reverse it. So way faster than doing it with a regular wrench. And I mentioned earlier like U-bolts or something like this, okay? U-bolts are used all the time on antennas, guys, especially Aggies and stuff like that. So we're gonna take it down. Now, I probably need a deep socket, but this will go quite a ways. Okay, that's pretty fast. Now, let me see if I can find something. We'll tighten something down nice and tight and see if it works, how it takes it apart. I've got a torque wrench, got this bolt. This actually is a nylock type thing, so it's a little harder to take off than regular. So let's just go on. Let me see if I can get this thing to click for you guys. Hopefully you can hear it. And we're just gonna go to 10 foot-pounds first. Sorry about hitting the camera there. Okay, that's 10 foot-pounds. All right, guys, let's see if it can pull that off. I'm pretty sure it can, because I think I had it tighter when I was testing it earlier. So we'll set this up. Make sure I got you guys in the screen. Yep, I do. We'll put this on there. It's in reverse. It took it off, no problem at all, guys. Let me jump up to 20 foot-pounds. Okay, I got it set at 20 now. Okay, we're set at 20. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, that's 20. Okay, let's just see if it'll break this loose. If he does this, I'll be pretty happy with this. I don't expect it to do much, because most of the time you would just take this and ratchet it to break it, because the ratchet should be strong enough to do that much weight or that much pressure. But let's just see if it'll do it by itself. Ooh. It does not. I don't think it'll do it, guys. Okay, so it won't break that, but let's just see what happens. Like I said, a lot of times you will take the ratchet, break it loose, and then spin it. So let's see if it does that. So it did that, and now it should spin it. No problem. Okay, like I said before, guys, if you're doing everyday mechanical work or working with this thing every day, probably not the best choice. Go with the name brands. But if you're looking for something that you use once in a while, like just on your hand projects, no, I wouldn't use this on my radio or anything like that. You got to pick your battles there. But screwdriver, screw gun is good for that. And in the description down below, there will be a link for this. And it's a pretty good deal for casual users. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. The little ratchet, the battery operated ratchet, it's a pretty nice little tool to have. You know, it may not be as good as some of the big name brands, but it doesn't cost as much either. And for something that some people will probably only use here and there, probably a pretty good deal. Don't forget to hit that like, everybody. That way it helps the algorithm for people to help find my channel, and it helps the channel a lot. And there will be a link in the description for the ratchet also. So, and if you are new here, think about subscribing. Doesn't cost you anything. You can always unsubscribe if you want to, but make sure you hit that bell, hit all. That way you'll get all my future videos. I'm Chuck, KK6USY for Ham Radio Adventures. Thanks for spending your time with me today. I know your time's valuable, and I hope to catch you guys on the airwaves on the radio someday. 73 all.